Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Maryland head baseball coach Rob Vaughn. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Ready to get some of this weather out of here and get going.
Yeah. So how has I've talked to a lot of coaches in the Big Ten. What's it been like for you guys getting ready for the season out in College Park?
Yeah, it's been really good. Everywhere has its challenges. Shoot, I was looking on Twitter the other day, and down in Waco, they got snow on the field, and Dallas is frozen. So, man, everywhere's got their challenges. And, we've had to battle some weather, but I'll tell you what, the thing that's been really impressive is our guides have been very, very professional. Like the way they've gone about their business has been very non-emotional, very non-frustrated by the things they can't control. They just show up every day and put their work in, and have been really professional with that. So the work's been really good so far. We need another week, and we'll be ready to go here in about 10 days.
All right, so take me around the diamond. Tell me who's going to be out there for the Dirty Terps this year.
Yeah, I think it's starting behind the plate. We've got several guys that can really do it back there, but I think we've worked really hard to build depth. But I think Luke Schliger is kind of going to be more than likely the guy leading the way. He's arguably one of our best, if not our best offensive player right now as well, but has really made some strides as a defensive catcher, and I'm really happy with where he's at. Riley Langerman, I think behind him is reliable as it gets. JUCO guy, fourth year in college baseball, can really handle a pitching staff. He's a guy I trust a lot. So I think it starts there. I think over at first you have obviously Costas coming back, which is huge. And then you got a young pup behind him and Sean Lane, who I think has a chance to get a lot of at bats, be it at DH, be it at first base, wherever it may be. But it's a guy that I think is going to be right in the middle of things. The middle is where it gets interesting because I think we have a lot of options. I think at second base, the first thing that jumps off is a guy like Matt Shaw. Obviously, he's one of our best players, but he's also turned himself into a really viable option at shortstop. He's worked his tail off, and I think you're going to see him maybe start a majority of games at second, but he could end games at short. And who knows? Maybe he kind of steps in and gets it done and kind of takes that job at shortstop. But you're going to see him over here. Jacob Orr is a young pup that, again, has a chance to be really good, that I think will get some at bats and mixing around the infield. And at shortstop, I think you got two guys that are competing their tails off right now, Kevin Keister and Drew Grace, and both guys are doing things good. Both guys are doing things they need to improve on, but I don't know that the guy that starts out there necessarily day one is going to play 56 games at shortstop. But I think the beauty is they can both really, really defend. So you're going to be strong up the middle in some way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of kind of who's the hot hand, who's getting it done offensively, who's giving me the consistent defense out there. But I think you're going to see both of them involved. Over at third base is our transfer from Villanova, Nick Russo. Been really, really good since he's been here. I've been hitting him in the 4-hole behind Shaw. He's just a career 300 hitter. He's a very professional hitter. He's going to help us on the mound some too. So I think you could see, some combination of Orlando or Grace, Keister, whoever's not at short, potentially getting some time over at third base as well. In the outfield, starting left, I think you got Bobby Zmarzlak. Bobby's really taking some strides as a defender this year, which I think has been huge. We've all seen what he can do with the bat in his hands and the pop he's got. But, very honestly, he hasn't been a guy that we super trusted out there on defense. And he's worked really, really hard, had a really good summer in Alexandria, worked really hard and has come back and been really good. So he's ready to go out there. So he'll start out there. Obviously, Bubba in center, kind of the heart and soul of our team, and Chris Aileen. And that guy's kind of all everything. He's our captain this year. He's wearing number 3. He's our guy. So he's as good as it gets defensively, and a guy that has got a ton of career at bats and is a winner. So we'll run him out in center, and then with Troy Schreffler out in right, who, he has lightning in his bat. He can fly, he can run. He's a really good defender. He's a guy that's got every tool you could ever dream up, and I'm excited to get to see him kind of play every single day out there. So, I think the funny thing with college baseball is you never know. That's how we'll start out there probably next week, and I've got some decisions to make about certain positions, but those are kind of the guys that'll be heavily in the mix. And there's definitely a guy or two that I didn't name that I guarantee is going to end up being a really important part to us getting a regional.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the pitching staff. Where are we at in terms of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had some pretty high end starting pitching here. Going back to the days of Jake Stinnett and Mike Schwarn, Brian Schaefer, Taylor Bloom. I mean, some big time arms we've had come through here. Obviously, Sean Burke last year. But the one thing that we always had those years, we had a frontline guy, maybe a number two, but we just never had a consistent three. And this is, I think, the beauty this year is I think we have three number ones that you can run out there in any order that you want to. I think the way we'll probably start it is Nick Dean running out there on Friday. I basically refer to him, and I don't play video games. I'm horrible at them, but it's like MLB The Show. Like you can literally throw any pitch in any count that you want to with him. He's just been as steady as it gets. He's put on some size and strength, which is really good for him. On Saturday, we'll start Ryan Ramsey out there. The lefty obviously was a mega dude out of the pen last year for us. Obviously, you guys got to see him start in the regional last year and was electric in that start. It's been really, really good since we kind of moved him into that role. And, to run Jason Savicle out there on Sunday to start. And, Jay is arguably the best pitcher on that staff. That's what I mean. Like, I think when you start looking at those three, you can kind of flip a coin, reach in the bag, pick them out whichever order you want. But I'm excited to run those three guys out first and kind of headline the pitching staff.
So in terms of the Big Ten, I know that Maryland's pretty high up there this year in terms of where you guys are going to be at. Where do you think the conference is at, and how important is it to go back to non-conference play to start off the year with only playing conference last year?
It's huge. It's huge. I tell you what, I thought last year was the best the Big Ten's ever been. There were 5 NCAA tournament teams in our conference last year, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Because we didn't play conference games, it makes no sense. But for some reason, they still decided to use RPI, even though RPI shouldn't exist when you have a conference-only schedule. But that's what the committee used, which again doesn't make sense to me. But that was their mindset. So to me, you look at some of those teams. I think we got 3 in last year. There was very easily 5 teams. I mean, very, very easily. Ohio State would have done damage in a regional. Iowa could have been really scary in a regional. Indiana, some of these teams like that are just really good teams. If you put them in the postseason, man, they deserved it and they were good enough. So that's what I'm excited about getting back to to non-conference play is, you have a chance to build your RPI. Our schedule's tough. I mean, those first 3 weeks for us are going to be an absolute bear, all 3 on the road. Opening up at Baylor, who's very good, going to Campbell week 2, who's played in a regional final, and Justin Harris teams are as tough as it gets. And then obviously week 3 going down to Greenville, North Carolina for the East Carolina Keith LeClaire Classic. And you look at Michigan, Indiana State, and East Carolina, all 3 regional teams in that mix right there. So it's gonna be a bear, but it gives us a chance if we go out and do what we're capable of doing, and we should do. You have a chance to build a pretty good RPI and set yourself up for a pretty good year.
Yeah. Where do you guys think you need? What do you guys need to do to get to where you need to go? And your end goals towards now the conference tournament's back as well too. So in terms of that, where do you guys think you need to go? What do you guys really need to do to get to where you need to go?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. We are been in this league since 2015, and we've had some nice years, but we've never won the league. And I think that's something our guys really want to do. It's something that's really important to them. So I think we just take it a step at a time. I think that's the beauty of having non-conference games now is, I remember last year you roll out in game 1, and any coach will tell you, man, when your season starts, you have an idea of where it starts, but you don't really know your team yet. As much as you practice with them, as much as you do that, you don't know the ins and outs of it until you start letting the bullets fly against somebody else. And, having to navigate that while your conference standings are happening from day one it's tough. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to that. But I think the biggest thing we have to do is just be consistent. We have the players, we have the experience, we have guys that I think when you look on the offensive side of the ball that have done it over the course of their careers and have proved what they're capable of. I think the guys on the other side of the ball that have proven what they're capable of doing as well. And I think the biggest thing for us is, can we be consistent in our day-to-day habits? Can we be super consistent in those? Because if we do, everything's in place for this team to be pretty good this year. But that's the challenge, is there's no magic formula to being elite. It just takes sacrifice and it takes diligence in these small little things. And we'll see. I think this group's up for the challenge, and I'm excited to kind of start this story with them.
All right. Rob Vaughn, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Good luck to you and the Terrapins this season.
All right. Thanks, brother.